Hey everybody, Adam, the FLG Head Judge, and if for those that listen, uh, host for TFG Radio podcast. I am here today to give everybody a few reminders for LVO, which is essentially a week away, under a week, depending on when you're watching or listening to this video. So, without further ado, we're going to go into some of the reminders for all the players for the 40K champs. And here we go. So to begin, we're going to just reminder with the rules cut off. By the time you are listening to this, it will be at the very earliest Thursday night, the 9th, or Friday the 10th. The 10th is the rules cut off, so no rules after the 10th or 11th. Sorry, I misspoke. It's the final rules are on it is the 10th. So no rules after tonight, the 10th, 11:59 Pacific time. The tomorrow or Friday is also the cutoff for model approval. So if you need to turn in any models to approve through the form, you just use the form. If it comes in by midnight or 11:59 on Friday, I will have all those models approved or not approved by Saturday midnight. If your model is not approved or if there's any questions for your model, you can go ahead and email me at headjudge@frontlinegaming.org. And that's the same email you use if you have any questions regarding things like your BCP. Why is this model not approved, or what do I need to do to fix this model? Also, the rule, like I said, the rules and rules submission deadline is the 10th. I will try to have those rules answered ideally by Saturday. And then if there's any corrections, I will try to make them by Monday before lists are locked, so that nobody has to all of a sudden change their list because they built the list based on a way a certain rule was going to be played. And as I just said, list submission is Monday, January 13th, 11:59 p.m. Pacific time. So that gives you a little more time if you're on the East Coast or outside of the West Coast. And then lists will be unlocked on Wednesday, January 15th. I will try to do it as early as possible. I may even do it at 12:01 that night. But no guarantees. But it will be on Wednesday. I'll try to do it as early as possible. I do wake up early for work, my actual job. So it will be usually when most people are either still asleep if you're on the West Coast, or if you're just getting up and getting to work outside of the West Coast. So I'll try to get that done as quickly as possible. Just a reminder also that it's 3 rounds per day. Each day is a set terrain. So like on day 1, we're using tipping point, which means the terrain is not going to change. You are going to have to set up the terrain for that first game, but once you do that for games 2 and 3, you shouldn't have to move any of the terrain around except to adjust it in case it gets jostled. For day 2, same thing. It's going to be the same Crucible of Battle throughout the day, and that includes the Shadow Round. And so you just need to set it up that morning, and you guys will be fine. Just a reminder, there is a Shadow Round. Top 16 will make it. Usually it's undefeated and X01s. You might get an X1 in there, depending how many people have draws. So that's always a possibility. You never rule it out. So just try to do your best. And like I said, top 16 will play that Saturday night. If you are going into round 5 or round 6, excuse me, and you are undefeated, and there's a good chance you could make it into the Shadow Round, please have someone get food and drink for you while you are playing. Because once we are done with that round 6, then you have a half-hour break, and a lot of places are either closed or close to being closed at that time, and you won't get food in enough time. There's not going to be any food nearby or relatively close by. So unless you finish your round 6 really quick, you're going to have someone get some food for you. So please make sure you do that. I will remind people during the round about that. And then the difference on day 3, if you happen to make it to top 8, the difference between this and previous years is that each round will be a different layout and will be a different deployment type. That includes the GW layout. So you're gonna have 3 different GW layouts, and you're gonna have 3 different FLG layouts. The WTC layout, I believe, stays the same, but I have to look at the terrain packet just to be sure. But it's probably changed also. So the judges will fix those. So if you're playing in top 8, you don't have to worry about it. If you make it to the next round, the judges will change the terrain to the proper terrain setup for that layout or for that deployment zone. Okay, and then awards right after. Just a reminder. That if you are looking at the player pack for 40K champs, the links for the model approval and the answers for the FAQ are in there. It's in the link in the email that's sent out. It's in the link in the announcement I made on the Frontline Gaming Community website, and it will be in the links below in the description of this video. So don't forget to check those links to see if your model's approved or not. Just a reminder about the paint judging this year. It's a little different because Games Workshop is doing it. You could come in Thursday night and have it paint judged there. You can have it judged if you need to. It will be judged on your table during the course of the first round, so that you don't. So if you don't have a display board, it's fine because we'll just walk around and judge every model in every army that's playing in that first or second round, and that way you can talk to them in terms of like what they need to look for and things like that. The judging in this first round is very basic. It's not going to be too detailed. They may have questions, but it's really just to see if you're going to make it to that next round of judging for them. If you've ever been to the GW event, it's similar to what they do, which is they walk around judging the armies while people are playing, and they do a second pass usually, and then they decide who's going to make the showcase cutoff for their awards. They do have separate awards for their events, so they do have a best general award. We are, as far as I know, we are still having the Paragon Award, which is going to be separate. So the same person could get it. It could be different depending how GW wants to do it. But just be aware that there'll be 2 different Paragon Awards. For our purposes, for LVO, for FLG, in order to get the Paragon Award, you cannot get a yellow card during the event. If you happen to get a yellow card for late or incorrect list, that's different. That's pregame. If you get a card, yellow or red, during the event, once the event starts on Friday, then you are ineligible for Paragon. Just a heads up with that. And it's been like that at every one of our events. Also, just as a reminder, we are doing active judging, which is normal for FLG events. So if we see something, we'll say something. If you have questions, just stop us. We are doing the card system again, just like last year when we first did it. I believe they are putting the QR codes also on the table numbers. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll find out when we get there, right? You and me both. But I will have the cards also on the table. You just scan the QR code. You don't need to put anything else. Don't put a question because we won't answer it. Don't ask. Just put your table number, and someone will go to get your table. Go to your table in a relatively short amount of time. We do have radios for a lot of the judges, and so they'll always be walking around with a radio, and they'll get to your judge. If you do happen to yell out for whatever reason, please put your hand up in the air. Keep it in the air until someone gets to your table. Don't yell and then put your hand down because we won't be able to find you in a 900 plus 1,000 person event. Okay, so please, we are still giving the dice out, the achievement dice. This is the last event we're doing it at. So if there's one you want to give to someone for sportsmanship or painting, or someone young is there, then you will want to make sure we are aware of that because we are giving those out. This will be the last event we give those out at. Okay. One thing we are stressing this year is finishing the games in a timely manner. If you've gone to these events before, you know I do not do a hard dice down when time is called. I'll give people time to finish the round and make sure both sides get a full turn or battle round. Whether that's turn 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. You're going to get a full round. If not, then we're going to roll it back. If you happen to take too long, on average, people take about 15 minutes to get everything together and get their scores in. So usually I'm able to pair the next round in about 15 minutes after time is called. If you happen to take longer than that, or it looks like you're just not hurrying along, you're actually playing as if you had all the time in the world. You cannot play too far into your lunch. If you get too far, and in the judge's opinion, you are just taking advantage of us letting you finish, we will penalize both players for it, regardless of whose quote-unquote fault it is. If it happens a second time, then, the first time you'll both get double yellows and probably point deducted for both. It won't matter in your game, but it'll matter in your standings and who you're going to play and where you are in the standings for top 16. If we happen to get more than 1,050, I think it's 1054 players, we might have an undefeated that doesn't get into the top 16. So it's important to maximize your points. So if you're taking too long, we will card both players and deduct points for those players. And this matters, maybe not in that game because you're both deducted the same amount of points. So the results are the same. But going forward, if you're still taking too long in the subsequent rounds, you will get a second yellow, which will become a red, and that's an automatic loss. You won't. So, and depending on your reaction, it could lead to other stuff. But let's not go there. Let's just try to finish our games on time or in a timely manner. When we tell you to finish up after the round has been called, please finish up quickly. Do not play it as if you're playing a regular round. You got to do everything quick. Do not roll unnecessary rolls. Just roll whatever you need to do to score, and then just move on and finish the game. All right, and then we'll all be good. Please remember on the start times for the event. Day 1 starts at 10. Day 2 starts at 9, and day 3 starts at 9. So be aware of that for day 2. We do every year. We do get a couple people that come in late because they thought the round was starting at 10. No, the round is starting at 9 on Saturday. If you make it to top 8, we're starting at 9 o'clock on Sunday. All right, same for the RTTs. If you're playing in the Friday or Saturday or Sunday RTTs, they will start at the same time as the champs on that particular day. Now, for those that have been asking, you do not have to turn in a list for the RTTs. The way the RTTs work, they are single eliminations. So you lose, you're done. You don't play any other games. Some people don't like it, but in the past we found that most people, once they lose, they drop anyway. So it may as well be a single elimination tournament anyway, which is what it is at this point. Which is why you don't need a list to turn in. All we need is your email address and your name. That way, what we do is we create the events after LVO, and those are your first scores for the new season. So please just be sure you arrive. You can go to the judges table. We'll get you settled. It is just a bracket. As each bracket fills up, you guys start playing. And for Friday, you'll play the same missions as the champs. On Sunday, there's a set of missions that is set aside for the Sunday RTT. So, if you have any questions, just go to the judges table, and we'll take care of you and get you all settled. If you haven't received your BCP code for the event, please check your spam filters to see if you got one. If you recently got a transfer, like at the last minute, you're probably not going to get one. So just email me at headjudge@frontlinegaming.org, and I can take care of it and get you registered, just to make sure that you don't miss the deadline. So don't forget, if you haven't got your code yet, send me an email, headjudge@frontlinegaming.org, and I will take care of it and get you registered in the event. One last reminder for registering for BCP. There's 2 types of registration at LVO. There's registration for the convention, and then there's registration in BCP. Make sure the convention registration you can do whenever. You don't have to do the day of. But if you want to get your swag, you want to get your badge or your wristband for LVO, make sure you get those. please, 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 register in BCP. You can register up to 24 hours before the start of the event. Register in BCP and you will get paired. If you do not register in BCP, you will not get paired that first round. It's not really that big of a deal, but what it happens is it eats into your time. You're not going to get extra time for the event. You're going to play with whatever time you have left. So make sure you are registered in BCP. Now we'll make a few announcements and during that morning to make sure everybody's in. And once everybody's in, pairings will go up about 15 minutes before round start, and then we can get going. One last thing about terrain, really quick. If you look at the player packet, and please look at the player packet, the WTC terrain that we used for Champs Cup will be used at LVO, and we are only using the medium build for the WTC terrain. We're not using the light or heavy build. We're only using the medium. What that means is it doesn't mean how much terrain is on the table. It means how many tall buildings are on the table. So the medium build has a couple, but not as many as a heavy build. A heavy build would have a lot more taller buildings than a medium or a light table. A light table had not as many tall buildings. So we're only using the medium builds for, if you notice, for the WTC terrain. The other thing is to remember to have the packet on you. If you don't have it, download the FLG app. And if you do have the app, make sure it's updated the Thursday before or the morning of. And all the information, the player packet, all that will be on the app for LVO. If you have any questions, please email me at headjudge@frontlinegaming.org. That's headjudge@frontlinegaming.org. If you have any questions about really anything, the Paint Awards, where to go, what to do, and I've been answering those all the last couple of weeks, so it's really no big deal for me to answer them. All that information will be down below in the description, along with the FLG FAQ, the FLG model answers essentially, or approvals, and I'll put my email down there also to email me if you have any questions about the event. Again, unfortunately we couldn't do a full show today because if you haven't noticed, we live in LA, me and the rest of the gang, and we've had a few fires. No one immediately from the show has been affected by them, but we have had family members and people in our team or our club that have been affected by the fires. So we'll see you out at LVO in next week, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. It's always a fun time. I look forward to it every year. And once again, good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.